Welcome back. Thank you so much for keeping it locked. We know that a child is a blessing, but still, it ain't easy being a parent. You'll learn those lessons every day, yet alone navigating the sloping terrain of parenthood in lockdown. Registered counsellor Shanaz Moos now joins us to continue our discussion on parenting during the pandemic. I mean, surely it's just parenting.
Okay.
Maybe that's just what it is. You know?
I mean, we covered some good ground. I mean, part one, we covered about, us as parents and the way we should be conducting ourselves and what that means to our kids. We also covered how we've been coping. But I think let's focus on just the parents because, as you may know, in the house, no longer can you say, we'll sort this out later when the kids go to school. The kids are there in the house. And when it comes to arguments and the way you address one another within that relationship, especially if you're living together, that can be important because we did touch on mirroring and the fact that that behavioral, sort of influence is quite important for the child. So when it comes to arguments and settling things, what would be the best option with regards to dealing with disagreements in the home with the kids being there?
You know, I think with one of the key factors in healthy relationships is communication. So if you struggled before lockdown with communication, it's as if someone took bright lights and shone it on that which is lacking, which is pure, honest and healthy communication. So a lot of people say we don't argue in front of our kids, but kids know, even without a verbal witnessing of an argument, when parents are upset with each other, it carries an energy.
Vibe.
Yeah, the vibe is the common word, but it has an emotional energy that children pick up on. And that sometimes, I'm not even going to go into just actually arguing. I'm saying monitor your emotional state when you're upset. Because what happens is the child says, Mom, are you fine? And then clearly mom is like steam's coming out of her ears. She's giving dad the evil eye. And then she's like, yes, I'm fine. And the child will persist because it isn't your body language and what you're saying are not a match. And often, I had when my son was younger, the youngest is now 13, he would actually take my face and he'd say, Mommy, look in the mirror. You are angry. And he would bring me back to that. I wasn't aware that I'd built up this, you know what I'm trying to say? So this awareness of yourself emotionally it's the key
Because, I mean, arguments are going to happen.
Yes.
It's a natural part of life. You've got to be able to navigate that. Can we talk about the elephant in the room?
Okay.
Honey,
Here we go.
Most of our anxiety, you talk about hiding or trying to kind of mask anxiety in the house during lockdown. Financial stresses are massive. How do we broach that with our children? How do we, maybe in a positive sense, communicate a more conscious financial spending and financial well-being to our children during this time? Because I doubt there is a human being on the planet who hasn't been put through the ringer when it comes to their financial health during lockdown.
I mean, I actually had to say to the one who loves shopping is my daughter, and I just said to her at one point that there isn't like unnecessary money spending fund. There's only let's get through this fund. And the conversation, I mean, the kids get pocket money, which then they're allowed to do with, and a lot of them just banked, they kept the pocket money until they could go out and do things with it. But there were other things that we had to cut back on in the house, just for, because a lot of people either got no income or reduced income. I work for myself, so I wasn't really working, so there was nothing there. And we had to just look at what can we do together, but still keep ourselves comfortable. Yeah. And one major change that I learned was that I grocery shop like a robot, without questioning. Same cereals, a quantity, when I used to physically grocery shop. And then lockdown happened, and I realized, but I don't need all these things. I couldn't access it either, and I can't afford it on the other hand. And my kids would often say to me, don't cook. This was the hard part for moms. We think we must cook to be good moms, right? And the kids would actually say, don't make anything. They said, what you going to eat? We'll eat toast. It's fine. But then you feel like a failure because good moms make food, until I had to realize that that's less spending.
You are the provider. You must provide.
Toast was easy, and whatever it is they wanted, that helped the budget a lot because the eating changed. During the course of lockdown, we couldn't or didn't want to eat certain things, and that helped the budget a lot. I know some people said all the kids want to do is eat all day. You know, I don't have that age
So
group.
what you're saying is you can have that honest conversation and you can just be open about it, and maybe
Yes.
it'll be a good chance for you to be honest with yourself.
Absolutely, and it's good to be reflective at the best of times as well. I think that the last one, and I think this is it's a quick one. I'm sure we can unpack it for hours, but you know, we're in each other's spaces a lot, and there's a little social anxiety that's happening at the same time, especially when it comes to the younger kids. So when it comes to parents, how do we manage if they've become too close to us, too attached to us? Because that separation anxiety is actually a thing. So just a sentence or two about what you think would be the best practice to kind of alleviate that.
So I think a lot of that would also hinge on if the child had social anxiety before, it would be amplified. But even the child who didn't struggle socially, like my daughter yesterday in Cavendish, she was like looking around anxiously. And I asked her, what's wrong? She says, can we go home soon? And she's 18. And she loves being outdoors. She loves, you know, so that I could actually see yesterday the impact on her. The youngest one doesn't want to leave the house. You know, Wi-Fi, gaming, food, you know. He's got the trilogy. He doesn't actually care about anything else. I mean, what more is there if he gets fed and he gets to game and, you know, and there's
online,
and watch whatever he wants. So the needs are different, man, in terms of that. And he's a socially anxious child. So being indoors is like heaven, you know. But even a child like my daughter who needed people, when she was around people yesterday, she struggled because that fear, man, this is what I think our kids have developed. This fear of who has it, can I get it? I don't know. When someone coughs, actually, my daughter, her whole body stiffens, including at home.
Yeah.
When one of us coughs, she just stiffens.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Look, it's an anxiety that we all share. So if you're feeling it, no matter how young you are, don't worry, you're not alone. Do you know what I feel like we need after this? Is a bit of restorative baking.
Yes,
a little
please.
bit of healing baking. Let's get back in the kitchen.